It seems like lately there has been a lot of talks regarding stimulus. When is it going to happen? Will it happen? How much stimulus will we get? Will more people on unemployment receive more money than somebody that's currently working? These are all questions that people are asking. Mitch McConnell is now in the stimulus negotiations. Nancy Pelosi is still pushing for her $2.4 trillion stimulus package. President Trump, as of right now, all reports indicate he does not care about stimulus, and Joe Biden is now in the mix. All of this is extremely important to understand as we move into, the end of November, middle to end of November, and into December and onto 2021. Because right now we have a president who is, in office, President Trump, and we have a president-elect, technically not really president-elect yet because it hasn't been certified, but we have president-elect, and then we have Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, who are technically the negotiating team. So right now, there's a lot of questions regarding stimulus, and I want to answer a bunch of these questions for you guys today. Because all of this is going to make stimulus negotiations very interesting, to say the least, over the next 2.5 months. What directions will stimulus negotiations actually go? Will we see more stimulus? Will we see less stimulus, but in a more targeted manner? Will the American people see a stimulus check? Well, we have reports out today that are addressing stimulus checks, the $200 prescription drug card for seniors and people on Medicare that President Trump promised over a month ago. We have reports on that as well. And we also have reports on what Joe Biden said this morning regarding what he wants in a stimulus package. So all this is very important to know. All of this is very important to stay updated on. And so I want to bring that information to you right now. First, when talking about stimulus, Joe Biden stated, people need help right now. They need help right now. He was adamant on right now, getting help now, not waiting until he, comes into office, which would be on January 21st, 2021. It's over 2 months away. People can't wait. Joe Biden said he spoke with Nancy Pelosi and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. And he spoke with them recently and discussed his key issues on stimulus. What are they? What does he want to see? And this isn't, I don't believe what he said is a comprehensive or is a list of all the things he wants in a stimulus package. I believe he wants more than just what I'm going to talk about in just a second. But I just want to reiterate that because there are some things that are missing, some big things that are missing, and you'll probably point those out, and I'll point them out to you as well. The first thing that was in this was small business assistance. He wants and he feels that we need to support small businesses. They're the backbone of this country and this economy. We need to give more assistance to these small businesses that are currently hurting, many of which will go out of business if they don't receive any additional help. He also wants to do some type of eviction assistance, eviction moratorium. He wants to figure out a way, a good, proper way, an efficient and effective way to provide people that are renters with some type of eviction moratorium or extension so that they don't get evicted during a pandemic when they may not have a job and cannot go find something else to rent. Maybe this could include some type of rental assistance as well. And he also addressed mortgage assistance. He doesn't want, and you need to keep in mind, Joe Biden was the vice president in 2008, which means he saw the economy go through one of its roughest times when we had the housing crisis from 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011 as well, kind of getting out of it. And so he saw that. He doesn't want that to happen again. So mortgage assistance is something that is big. He wants to provide people that are struggling with their mortgages a way to, get back on track, whether that's actually physically giving them a check to help them pay their mortgage, or in some way doing some type of mortgage forbearance, which is currently what many people are doing right now. He also addressed unemployment assistance. He wants to see this through. He wants $600 per week. That is what he wants. He feels that is a good number. But right now, Mitch McConnell and the Senate do not support a $600 per week unemployment plus up. President Trump did, but Mitch McConnell and the Senate, or the GOP, do not. He also addressed state and local government assistance. I believe Mitch McConnell is on board with some state and local government assistance, which is good because if you are a state employee, you won't be laid off now if there is some state and local government assistance. And to what extent, how big is this package going to be? However, he did not mention stimulus checks, which I believe he does support a stimulus check, but it's not a high priority for him. And I'll address that in a second. He also didn't address liability protections for businesses. He didn't address testing, tracing, treatment, vaccines. He didn't address that. That's obviously a non-starter. That's something that is for sure going to be on his radar. That is something that I personally believe, after reading multiple reports, Joe Biden doesn't just want to tie testing, tracing, and treatment into a stimulus package. He would rather address those three things on a separate bill, because that is almost a separate issue. It's extremely important. We cannot get our economy back to where it once was, pre-pandemic levels, with a virus. And I think he knows that. Now, what you need to keep in mind is that Joe Biden didn't talk much about direct payments to the American people. And he didn't address this much before the election either. This wasn't something that his campaign was really running on as stimulus checks. We need to get more money to the American people. That was something that President Trump was doing. And it looked like it kind of backfired. But Joe Biden wasn't running on that. But he does support stimulus checks. On the other hand, Kamala Harris, she is the one she's a firm believer. Or did I say Kamala Harris? If I butchered her name, sorry. But she is a firm believer on not just a larger stimulus check. President Trump wanted a larger stimulus check. Whether that was true or was a political stunt, we don't know. Kamala Harris wants a larger stimulus check. She was one of the first people that proposed the $2,000 per month stimulus check. That was her. Now, I don't believe Joe Biden would support a $2,000 per month stimulus check. I do believe he supports a stimulus check to the American people. It's not going to be a monthly stimulus check because it still has to get the support of Republicans, which is not going to happen because it would be a very, very expensive stimulus package. Joe Biden did state that Nancy Pelosi is working on a relief bill to get something done by the end of this year. That's extremely important to note because there's a lot of things happening at the end of this year that we need to address, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. He didn't elaborate on whether or not this bill was just going to be another HEROES Act 2.0, 3.0, what have you, or a different type of bill. However, based on our reports out recently, it would be foolish for Nancy Pelosi to keep stuffing a $2.4 trillion HEROES Act bill down the throats of Mitch McConnell and the GOP because they will not support this. Mitch McConnell said this months ago, that he urged President Trump and the Trump administration, or Steve Mnuchin, to slow down with stimulus talks. Don't keep offering the kitchen sink because the GOP will not support this. It will not pass through the Senate. And many people believe it wasn't just Mitch McConnell that was the cause of no stimulus before the election. It was a mix of Nancy Pelosi and the GOP as well. So, it's not just one person to blame. It's kind of everybody in Congress. This also leads many people to believe that a stimulus package with Nancy Pelosi she's going to have to compromise. This new package is going to be a mix between a comprehensive package, but also a less expensive, more targeted package. So this bill will require a mix of both of those. And this has to be done in order to appease Republicans. If it doesn't, Republicans and the Senate are not going to pass this, and it's never going to be a bill. What you need to remember is even though Republicans are predicted to win the Senate and have the majority 49 to 51, they still need in the Senate, in order for a stimulus package to pass, it still has to receive 60 votes. Which means if Democrats only have 49 people in the Senate, or 49 people that support this bill, it still needs 11 Republicans. Out of 51, that means 40 would not support it and 11 would. So it has to be a bipartisan bill, or else it's not going to pass. Mitch McConnell did come out today and state that he is looking at a stimulus package around $1 trillion. Not $1.9 trillion like the President Trump originally proposed. This means that the stimulus package would be more targeted and will cost less, which means it will most likely not include a large payment for state and local governments. And many reports indicate that this could possibly not even include a stimulus check. Experts do believe that if stimulus checks are a non-starter for Democrats, then Republicans would jump on board with a stimulus check. However, the Republicans and specifically GOP would not, would not be on board with a large-scale stimulus bill for state and local government funding. They could get behind $100, maybe $200 billion, but past that, it's not looking likely. And I know you're probably wondering, well, what would even be on Mitch McConnell's $1 trillion stimulus package? Well, here is what reports are indicating. And these are the things that are saying could be included in this package. First off, we know PPP funding for small businesses would be included. We also know liability protections for businesses would be included as well. Education assistance was what was in his $500 billion stimulus package. That pretty much went nowhere, but that would be included. Most likely $300 a week for unemployment assistance. I believe this would go for about 6 weeks, so not as long as Democrats would want and not as high as Democrats would want, but it is something. It would be about additional $1,800 that these unemployed workers would receive. It's most likely going to include state and local government funding as well. This would probably be in the ballpark of anywhere right around $200 billion, which would be great for many states. And the funding for testing and vaccines would most likely be here as well. This is seen as a priority for both Republicans and Democrats. It's more of a priority for Democrats, though, not Republicans. Republicans want money to go to businesses. These reports do indicate that this bill would use up about $300 billion of the unused funds that the government has lying around that they haven't spent from the previous CARES Act, making this bill closer to about $700 billion in new appropriations, which is much easier to swallow for a Republican than a $1.9 or $1.6 trillion stimulus package that would require $1.3 to $1.6 trillion in new money. The good news regarding stimulus negotiations right now is that all parties want to see this pass before the end of the year. This includes Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden. There's probably other people as well, but those are the three main people. I would put President Trump in here as well. However, President Trump, Steve Mnuchin, Mark Meadows are all out of the stimulus negotiations. They don't want any part of it, according to the White House. They do not want to, Mark Meadows and Steve Mnuchin do not want to negotiate with Nancy Pelosi. And President Trump has other things on his mind. So, they are not currently working on this, and this means the likelihood of a $1.9 trillion stimulus package is off the table and is completely gone. The reason for the December 1st deadline is actually very simple. I previously stated a couple weeks ago as well, that Nancy Pelosi is most likely going to put a deadline for Thanksgiving as the deadline for getting stimulus negotiations really ramped up and back to where they once were. But the true deadline for getting stimulus passed will be December 31st, which means that we will see a stimulus package sometime in December. If we don't, that is where you really need to worry, because we have 3 major fiscal cliffs coming on December 31st. There are a few others as well. These are the 3 main ones you need to be aware of. The first one is the unemployment for self-employed workers and gig workers. This ends on December 31st, and it's not looking like this will even be extended past December 31st. So if you are, let's say you are a Uber driver, or you drive for Lyft or DoorDash, you're a gig worker, you're a freelancer, something like that, you are most likely going to be out of unemployment benefits starting January 1st. Also, the federal eviction moratorium through the CDC expires December 31st as well, which means millions and millions of Americans could be evicted in the first couple weeks of January. And the federal student loan deferral ends as well. I mentioned this in the video I did yesterday, and I mentioned this a little bit in the video I did this morning, where Joe Biden's plan, one of the things he wants to do through an executive order, is to pretty much wipe away up to $50,000 of federal student loans. That's big. That's big. That's huge when the average student has about $30,000 to $35,000 in student debt. So that could be really big for people with student loans right now. However, if all 3 of these things happen, or these things happen, so the unemployment expires, the federal eviction moratorium expires, and the student loans expire, this is going to create a ripple effect throughout the economy, the entire economy, and this would not be good news. But one of the questions I'm constantly asked, and I want to address this because I addressed this a couple days ago as well, and a lot of people had more questions, is what stimulus is there for people on Social Security, disability income, or any type of fixed income? What kind of stimulus is there going to be? And here's what I can honestly tell you. I can honestly tell you that if you are on a fixed income, whether it's through Social Security, railroad benefits, or even VA, okay? I try every single day. I don't try, I do every single day. I get on my computer or I'm on my phone looking to see are any states or any local counties or cities offering some type of additional benefit to elderly people on Social Security, our veterans, people railroad, whatever, right? People on Medicare. Is there any city, state, county offering additional stimulus to these people? And in most cases, there's nothing. There's seriously nothing. And I do this because I know the cost. I know what it takes to live on a rather small income. I know that. I wasn't always well off. There were times where we were pinching pennies. We had to sell something to pay a bill. So I've lived on both sides of that spectrum. I know what it's like. And I don't want people to go through that. But right now, it looks like there is not going to be anything for Social Security, any extension or any bonus, any boost, any additional cost of living adjustment other than the 1.3% that starts in January. It's not looking like there's going to be much until maybe the end of January, maybe February, when Joe Biden takes office. Because as of right now, remember the $200 prescription drug discount cards that President Trump promised over 35 million Americans? As of right now, it looks like that's not going to happen. It was just a political stunt. President Trump said this, thought it was a good idea. His administration tried to run with it, and they got nowhere. They couldn't put it together. Reports also indicate that Joe Biden does want to make seniors a priority in his administration. This could mean an increase in Social Security benefits. This would be a percentage, not a specific dollar amount, which I mentioned in a video a couple days ago, where Joe Biden wants to do something like give an additional $200 per month to people on Social Security, which would be great, but it would also be difficult to do, where they want to do it where it's a percentage instead of a set dollar amount. However, any stimulus to anyone on Social Security will not happen until 2021. Because as of right now, it just doesn't seem like President Trump is willing to really work with what's going on right now. And so it could make the whole transition period very difficult for not only Joe Biden and his administration, but for the American people as well. So let's address some COVID news, because this is extremely important as well. The United States reported 130,553 new cases of COVID yesterday, with 745 deaths. This is according to Johns Hopkins University. Many health experts are predicting that the surge in cases has not yet reached its peak, and we will most likely not see the peak cases, the high numbers, 200, 250, 300,000 plus cases, until the first couple of weeks in December. This is when we should see the highest amount of cases. Then you need to remember, deaths, usually it's about a 2-week lag time in deaths. So if we see the high cases in December, the first couple weeks of December, Christmas time is not going to be a very merry Christmas for many people if a lot of people are dying. This is what experts are currently warning Americans to do. Wear your mask. Social distance when possible. Wash your hands. Use hand sanitizer. Stay safe. They say even though we have been in this pandemic for about 8 months, they are saying that we still have another 8 months to go before we see any signs of normal life. This could mean where we do not have to wear a mask everywhere. We do not have to social distance everywhere. But we should still wash our hands. We should still use hand sanitizer, and this would only happen after you have been vaccinated. So that is what we know right now. That is the update as of today. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I will be back to bring you another stimulus update sometime tomorrow as new reports do come out. Just want to thank you guys for watching this channel, supporting me on this channel. I do spend hours and hours of my time to keep you updated. So if you can, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. If you enjoy the fact that I spend hours and hours of my time away from my family to keep you updated so that you don't have to do the same thing. So again, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you want to stay updated, and I'll see you guys on the next one.